Lots going on in the international soccer world this week. The World Cup 2030 has been handed out to 6 countries.
Sure.
3 continents. It's going to be the Centennial World Cup. Way back when, 100 years? Must be. Back in Uruguay, they beat Argentina. So Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay will be hosting 3 games of the 2030 World Cup. And then it goes over to Europe and Africa, Morocco, Spain, and Portugal. That's a lot of travel for fans, which isn't great. But when do FIFA care about fans? But I think, though, but moving forward, the cost of hosting a World Cup as such, I think this is just part of what we're going to see moving forward. We're seeing it in Mexico, the States, and Canada in 2026, for example.
But the thing is, with Spain, Portugal, and Morocco, that makes sense to me because they are all so close to each other. And the travel for the fans, the staff, the athletes is not that bad. The idea that only Uruguay, Paraguay, and Argentina are going to play their first match at home to celebrate and commemorate the 100 years, but match day 2 will be in Barcelona or Lisbon or Marrakech for them. Those 3 teams are getting sewered right now because they're the only ones that have to travel. And then I guess there are 3 opponents. So actually there will be 6 teams. It doesn't make any sense. I understand what they're trying to do, but then why wouldn't you just have the World Cup in South America? I know there's obviously answers to that question, but it just seems to be way too much movement for just those 3 and then their opponents when Spain, Portugal, and Morocco makes sense.
Yeah. Does the travel really matter that much? Because there's
how far?
Maybe a week in between games? It's group stage, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know the venues for the knockouts yet. I'm not sure if they released that.
No, this is still a long way off.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm assuming they'll probably be closer in terms of geography. So
this could also be one of those tournaments where you play your first 3 games and then there's a big gap.
Well, that's what he's saying. Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Right, which
they're going to have to give
from the first group games to the last. I want to say it's probably about 5 to 7 days.
With all those games just it's a lot.
And then it's extended World Cup as well.
I think it's 12. No, probably about 10 hours, depending on where they are. Well, I mean, if they're in Buenos Aires, it's probably closer to 14. If they were to go to somewhere, let's say Barcelona, probably the furthest destination. And then for those 3 teams, I saw on Twitter, everyone was kind of speculating that Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay are going to play the easiest teams in their group. So they're going to bring, the smaller nation. I don't know. It just seems like it's unnecessary in my opinion. When you could just have it in the 3 countries that are all very close to each other and pulling Europe and Africa together.
Seems that this is a case of FIFA really trying to appease CONMEBOL.
Yeah.
Right? As far as this, it is a 100-year centenary. We are going to honor that tournament in a long time ago.
Yeah.
Right? But you're trying to force it here. It seems a little bit, but still, listen, 2030. The fact is Spain, Portugal, Morocco love their football as well. Morocco's been bidding for tournaments for I don't know how long. Right, they deserve it as well. Where will the final be? That's a big question, though.
The Camp Nou.
Just because you're a Barcelona fan.
Because it's the biggest stadium in Europe. Logically, if FIFA want to make money, and they always do, that's where you have the final because they're going to sell the most tickets. Now, this is what's interesting because Spain will win in Spain because it's meant to be and it's written in the stars right now.
Oh, my God.
No, but I was thinking about this. If Spain make it to the final, they're obviously going to determine where the final is before.
That's a big if.
That is going to be chaos because Barcelona they're Catalan. They don't like the national team. So there's a lot of controversy and people are already speculating it might be held in the Santiago Bernabeu because of the political issues.
Well, that makes the most sense too. And they just renovated it. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, but they're renovating the Camp Nou right now. It'll be ready and it's bigger.
Good point.
I'm just talking about in terms of FIFA, this is not even Barcelona. This is, if you want to sell tickets, that's the biggest stadium in Europe.
It's a good conversation because it's if there was one venue you can pick to be the final, to be where the final is played, what would that venue be?
Anywhere in the world or anywhere in the world?
Let's say anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world, okay. The Maracana would be great. The Azteca we saw in '86, incredible. But obviously,
the
Wembley's the
Maracana
right answer.
Didn't they have it?
The Maracana had...
when
in Brazil.
Yeah. But it was in Brazil.
Yeah, it was in Brazil.
Wembley's the answer, though, isn't it?
No.
Home of football.
Get out of here.
Charmaine.
The Maracana or the Monumental in Buenos Aires would also be fantastic. But I think the Camp Nou is also a good show. Just
Tottenham
about
Hotspur
big
Stadium, BMO Field.
Yeah, listen, shout out to Estadio de Luz in Lisbon, by the way.
Yes.
60,000, gorgeous stadium.
Great stadium, yeah. Great
yeah,
stadium.
that could be a venue. Why not? It's gorgeous,
No, it's
right?
going to be in the
It'll be a
Stadio
venue.
do Dragão.
Oh, Dragão.
I've been there. That's a really nice stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got there's a few years to think about it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we won't be finding out schedules for a while. Let's get through 2026 first.
Yeah, we're jumping the gun.
This
here.
is the new norm, right? Multiple host cities. We saw this in the Euros. It's just,
The Euros was nuts.
this is
because
just
it
the
was
way
12.
it's going to be. Yeah, it's too much.
12
It's too much.
Although, I mean, listen,
it too much?
Euro
Does it
next
really
year,
matter?
Euro next year is going to be in Germany.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Let's slow down. We'll,
Yeah.
relax a little bit.
But listen,
so much
you blame
football.
FIFA. They cost so much though to host a tournament now. It's so much money, right?
Yeah, but
One-
Germany also has the infrastructure to be able to do that, whereas some of the other nations we've been talking about don't. I think that's honestly why it's not fully in South America. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Germany can do it, France can do it,
Yeah.
England can do it, the States can do it. Outside of that, like legitimate top-class stadiums, enough of them, there aren't that many countries who could also afford a tournament as well. So
Qatar put it together.
temporary stadiums, yeah.
that
Money's not an
come
issue there. Well, Saudi Arabia are actually announced yesterday officially bidding for 2034.
They're pissed that they
Can
didn't
I
get
just?
2030.
I'll make a prediction. I'll just guarantee it that they will host the World Cup. I
The
guarantee it.
2034.
I guarantee
Yeah,
it.
I'm honestly kind of shocked they didn't get 2030.
They got all the money in the world.
Yeah.
They're bringing all the players over. It's lining up perfectly for Saudi
FIFA
Arabia.
don't care about a good old controversy, do they?
Come on, Sharms.
Is it kind of sad that the World Cup is now being held in Portugal and Ronaldo's not going to be part of the squad?
Why wouldn't he be?
I don't know about that.
He might be.
Yeah.
2030?
I don't think that's sad, but
Oh, is it? I don't know
think
because
so.
you're an actual fan. Like
No,
it's
I
like,
don't
oh,
think-
finally. And
I don't think it's sad.
no, okay, that's I
So,
just curious.
I get what
7
you're
years'
saying,
time,
though.
he'll be what, 43, 44?
Probably something like that.
Still
yeah.
do it?
He might be part of like the coaching staff or
He'll
something.
play Euro, I
Maybe.
think.
Maybe.
Euro,
I
but
think he'll play Euros. Roberto Martinez seems to.
Oh, he's a
Seems to
well,
be
the
like
Euros
starting
is
every
next
game right
year.
now, isn't
We're
he?
talking about in like
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's a lot of football to make it till then. Like even when Messi's been talking about it too. But
no. Neither of them will be at the
No.
2030.
that'd be incredible, though.
It'd be something, wouldn't it? Canada have announced their squad for the upcoming match in Japan. Mauro Biello's first squad since John Herdman stepped aside. Names that kind of stand out here is Mathieu Chounière of Montreal. He's been great all year. I'm glad he gets maybe his first cap because he's been just brilliant. Harry Patton of Motherwell, no idea. I won't lie to you. Luc de Fougerolles.
One more time,
I
James?
don't know how to pronounce that name, and nor do you. No one knows. He's in Fulham's academy
Yeah.
in England, highly rated player, but can also play for England as well.
Nice.
So he's being called up. That's great. Max Crepeau back in there from that leg break. I'd love to see Max back in there. He'll be starting for Canada in no
I'll
time.
never forget that injury.
Oh,
Wow. And the
Horrendous.
game in the final.
Horrendous. Anyone stand out to you out of those players?
I mean, Sam Piet's back. I kind of thought we were seeing.
Mr. Reliable, though, right? He
Yeah,
never
yeah,
hurts
no,
you.
he's been fantastic for Canada, but just I guess. And we obviously know Tajon's injured, so he can't be there. That's a huge loss for them. Other than that, yeah, there's a few names I'm not familiar with, but it seems to be like the skeleton squad we've been used to for the last couple years or so.
Bit surprised Boyan gets back in there.
That's the big one
A
for
lot
me.
of speculation about what happened at the Gold Cup. Leaving because he wasn't going to be picked.
Right.
That's the speculation out there. That's under John Herdman, new manager, obviously in charge now for the foreseeable future. I don't know. Is that a message being sent the right way? I don't know exactly what happened there, but he's been brought back into the squad. And like I said, he got Max Crepeau there, who is going to be, I think, the starter by the time the World Cup
It
comes
seems
around.
like he's the next in line, right? I'm really
Dave
curious.
Sinclair's a good keeper, though. Don't
Really good. I'm just really curious to see how Canada's set up now. If how different it will be from John Herdman's tactical, switches and whatever he does there. Because Biello, we've seen him in MLS. He's obviously a very smart coach, but at the international level, I wonder if he changes his style at all.
Be interesting what different formation. Listen, they've tried so many formations under John Herdman, right? They can play a variety of ways.
And they do it a ton in game as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So it'd be interesting. No, Ali Ahmed of Vancouver, I'm surprised about. He's been good this year.
No
and looked really good at the Gold
either.
Cup. Yeah, who's actually started off pretty well this year in England.
I don't really understand that.
Theo Corbiano as well. He's playing in Switzerland right now, Grasshopper.
The Valor FC keeper. People seem to want him. I don't want to say his name. Serrois.
Yeah, but the thing is,
They're saying
Canada's pretty deep in goalkeeping right now.
yeah, but that's like if Borjan wasn't there, who would it be, right?
Yeah,
And
but he's also, you don't get too many CPL call-ups at this point. Happens now and again. But still, it's a tough game against Japan, who are stacked for this as well.
Japan are
It's a good matchup. That's, we can criticize
Incredible.
Canada soccer all you want, but they've organized a game against a really exciting team. So that's
Get more
next
of them.
Friday.
Get more of these games.
You have to.
It's crucial, man.
Yep,
Especially
absolutely.
for Biello. He needs to get these reps under his belt, and he needs to figure out who he wants on his team.
Well, I think we need to find out who he is as well as a
true,
manager,
yeah.
because is he going to be the long-term successor to John Herdman? They're going to hire a new coach when they hire the general secretary, whenever that is. We'll find out. England have also announced their squad, and we've got to talk about it. We're just talking about it in the office there. And we thought, well, given the volatility of our discussions, we should probably tape this as well. So they're playing Australia next Friday, and then Italy in the qualifier a few days after. Ollie Watkins back in there. Good for him, and so he should be. Jared Bowen as well, he should be in there. Harry Maguire, recalled. Jordan Henderson, recalled. Calvin Phillips, recalled. No James Ward-Prowse. Beginning to question old Gareth there a little bit here. Loyalty is fine, but perhaps too much loyalty here.
It makes no sense.
And they have a massive match against Italy for Euro qualifiers. That's their toughest game in the group. This is the second leg of that. Yeah, it's at home in Wembley, but like it's not going to be easy. Never these big clashes are easy, right? So you're going into it. You can't just, it's not the right time to experiment right now, is what I'm basically saying. Yeah, there are injuries and whatnot, but yeah, those three specifically that you named, what are you doing?
And the thing is, like, he's willing to drop Mason Mount for poor form, but he's not willing to do the same to Calvin Phillips or Harry Maguire.
Or Marcus
And if you look
Rashford.
at James Ward-Prowse, who's been one of the best midfielders in the Premier League this season, statistically, and it passes the eye test by a mile. West Ham would not be where they are without him. He has, 8 goal involvements in 8 games?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's more than Calvin Phillips' appearances total for club and country. How is that possible?
He's played, so Ward-Prowse has played 531 minutes so far this year, right? Calvin Phillips, 70 minutes. Jordan Henderson, none. He's playing in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
Right?
And what I don't understand, too, we always talk about this, right, James, especially in these big tournaments, set pieces are crucial.
Yeah.
Who's the best delivery from set piece ball? Maybe not the best, but I would say him and Trent are probably neck and neck.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you want that?
You know what?
He doesn't necessarily need to start.
There has to have been some history there between him and Gareth Southgate, because he's never got the benefit, never been called up. Well, very rarely, anyway.
I can understand it when he was at Southampton, because players at those clubs, those types of clubs, and no disrespect to Southampton, they do get overlooked. At West Ham shouldn't be the case. Look, Jared Bowen just got called up because he's been on fire.
Yeah.
But why not Ward-Prowse? And why is Marcus Rashford still there, Sharms?
Thank you.
2 goals in his last 12 Premier League games. That's insane.
It's time we start judging Rashford, I think. Listen, he's a great guy. We know this, right? Raises money for the children. Right. Brilliant human being.
Fine.
And when he's on top form, he's a very effective player, but he's so streaky.
Well,
and he's not getting the job done this year.
But that's the thing with Gareth Southgate, and you were alluding to it with the whole loyalty thing, is that you're picking certain players up because they're doing really well and letting go of some players because they're in bad form. But then you go back to these same specific players every single time, and they're in bad form right now too. Like, it just, to me, it seems there are favorites, and this is going to bite England in the butt, and it might bite him in the butt too. I mean, I've had issues with Southgate from the beginning, but I just think it's becoming more obvious that, like, this isn't going to work.
Well, you do need leaders, though, in the squad as well, right?
Sure,
so
but
Maguire
they
and
need to be
Henderson,
playing-
great teammates. Henderson, though, starts most big games for England still, right? So you wonder where, okay, Ward-Prowse isn't quite the same player as a Calvin Phillips, for example, right? But he can play in the right of a midfield, which is where Henderson plays for England. So there is kind of almost a like for like there, which isn't working out for whatever reason. It's really strange. You look at a young player. I'm all over right now, Rico Lewis, right? But he's looking so good for Man City. And of course, I'm judging this a lot on one game from yesterday where he played in that midfield role. But next squad moving forward towards Euro, if this kid continues playing for Pep Guardiola, then surely he gets a look in at that position. Although Phil Foden doesn't start for England, does he? That
That's
often.
true. Enrico Lewis was doing it last season as well.
He was.
That was his one cameo this season in the Champions League. He's been great. Another player, Eddie Nketiah. I understand, no Ivan Toney, Callum Wilson is out injured. So you need a backup striker for Harry Kane?
Yeah.
But what's he done?
Well,
Can you not leave him out to bring in another midfielder?
Perhaps.
Who would you bring as a midfielder over Eddie Nketiah up front?
James Ward-Prowse. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. How do you not have him
The
in
thing
there?
is, I mean, you look at the forwards, right? I mean, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish can be considered midfielders as well, though, right? They're not always playing in the front three.
Right. Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, listen, actual centre forward, so Eddie Nketiah is a centre forward, Ollie Watkins is a centre forward, and of course, Harry Kane's a centre forward. Yeah,
Why do you gotta
I'm not
carry
too
three of
upset
them?
about that.
Why do you have to carry 3 strikers?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You know?
You know, modern fluid formations, though, right? You got to be able to play in numerous positions
Yeah,
nowadays.
And
True.
Harry Kane plays the majority of minutes anyway.
I'm less perturbed about Nketiah. I'm just looking at what point
'cause you
do you
don't
say,
expect
Jordan
him to
Henderson,
play.
you made the choice to go to Saudi Arabia, and I won't judge you.
Yeah.
Good for you. But I'm sorry, you kind of given up your England credentials by doing that.
I think so.
And it's interesting that Southgate looks to Saudi Arabia to bring in a player. But over the past few years, he won't look at the Serie A and realize that Chris Smalling or Tammy Abraham are doing things, but he'll look at Saudi Arabia.
Although Tomori's been in this squad, though, which is good. So that's important.
That is great,
No. Yeah, I think the City is getting absolutely wiped here, and I think a lot of people have been saying that for time. So that's a really good point. But yeah, I don't think Jordan Henderson deserves to be in here whatsoever.
Well, listen,
it's so hard to say though with Henderson, right? Because let's be honest, we're not watching him play. Maybe
it doesn't matter. The
You're
quality
not
of the
playing
doesn't
though
is
in the top.
appalling.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not playing in top 5 like that.
No.
This is the England national team. You got to be playing top level football.
What if Jordan Henderson was in MLS, and he was the best midfielder in that league?
Sorry.
Does that
In
change?
MLS?
Nope.
It's a good question. No, I'd say it changes somewhat because MLS is a much higher standard than Saudi Arabia at this point.
Right.
And we've seen other players, you know, in the Serie A. I think about when Giovinco joined MLS. He wasn't picked. That was the end of his career
Yeah, I remember that.
for the Azzurri, right? I haven't seen Lorenzo Insigne get a call up
No.
for a while.
Same thing was said about Pirlo. I can't remember who the Italian manager was, but he was not being selected because he was playing in MLS.
That's Conte, I think, wasn't it?
It might have been Conte. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, who knows? Listen, we've got a week still of club football before
Yes.
another international break. And jump on 442picks.ca. It's free to play and it's a brand new month. Tons of prizes available to you. Room 442 is brought to you by North Star Bets. That's a win.